Welcome to the Visitor Parking Podcast. Righteous Rides provides vans to missionaries when they're in the U.S. on furlough. We hope you enjoy this story from one of our recent guests.
Welcome to Visitor Parking. With us here today is Adam and Amy. Tell us a little bit about what brings you into Righteous Rides today.
Yeah, so we are missionaries in the Czech Republic, and we just got back to the St. Louis area to start visiting family as well as churches that support us. And so we're picking up a vehicle to start our 6.5-month journey through the Midwest and East Coast, and we need a van.
Well, welcome to Righteous Rides. Thank you. What does your ministry look like in Czech Republic?
Yeah, do you want to answer that one?
Sure, I can answer that one. So we've been living in Prague in the Czech Republic for almost 8 years now, and we live in a neighborhood on the north side of the city, and we've been doing church planting there. So we have a small church plant at this point with about 15 people. And so, yeah, that's what we've been doing, working to just meet people in the neighborhood, share the gospel with whoever will listen, and praying a lot that God would build his church there.
That's amazing. What have you seen God do in your ministry recently?
Yeah, so we've been there 8 years, and the first 3 was mostly language. We were living in the location that needed a church in Prague, but we probably got more down to the church planning, heavier evangelism stage in our second term, which we're just finishing up. And it's slow. It's very slow in Central Europe. Most of Europe, it's really slow work. And finding God-prepared people that already God has placed that interest in is definitely our goal. But I think lately we've seen God bring a mixture of people to our neighborhood that we're in contact with. Some Christians that are moving to Prague and are looking for a church that have basically joined our work and decided that they can do a small church plant type of work, as well as some fringe people that have connected through some of our outreach programs that are just kind of hanging around. And so we're excited about that. We left some national partners in charge of the church plant, and we were a little nervous that when we subtracted our 5 with us and our 3 kids, they were going to be very discouraged. But the last few months, God brought both believers and unbelievers that are regular attenders to encourage them. And I think that's really exciting. So we're excited about
amazing
that.
that
really
God's preparing people to join your ministry.
Yeah.
What is your furlough experience going to look like while you're here? Any challenges or things you're looking forward to?
Yeah, so it'll be a mix of hopefully some time to relax and refresh. So this summer especially, we're here. My family's here in St. Louis, so we'll spend some time with them. We'll visit Adam's family in Indiana here as well. And so hopefully it'll be some time for us to refresh and to kind of pull back from ministry and have some time to, just relax. But also in the fall, we'll be visiting with a lot of churches, traveling and talking with people who have been supporting our ministry in Prague.
Do any stories come to mind from the Czech Republic that you want to share of cultural mistakes or life changes?
Yeah, I remember the first day we were there, I had learned numbers and certain things before we went, like in Czech language, and we went to a restaurant. It wasn't the first day. First week when we went to a restaurant alone with no teammates to help us, and I was pretty confident. I said, I want one of those, and I think I ended up with 3 of everything, and so we had a lot of food on our hands that day. That's definitely a funny thing that happened just the first week 8 years ago. But I think, it's interesting. In Europe, I think you can find veins that are similar to American culture because it's Western and it's modern. And so I think our biggest mistakes are probably when we start to just feel like we get it. And then we realize there was a nuance that we weren't getting. And usually those have to do with words that sound almost exactly the same or are like from international, like English, that have embedded into the language, and we start using it like we would in English, and it doesn't mean that in Czech exactly. It means something slightly different how they've integrated it. So we've had plenty of those too.
It's definitely a challenge, learning a new language and adapting in that way. Thank you for sharing those stories. How can we be praying for you as you start your furlough experience or for your ministry back in Czech?
I think pray for our kids, especially. This is really fun for them to come back to America, or really they've lived most of their life overseas. And so them coming here is fun, but it's also very unknown and it's new. So pray for them as they transition. I think they have all kinds of emotions, some positive, some negative. And so just pray for them just as they're transitioning and just for a time to be living here in America. So I think pray for them, but also pray for us. Pray that we would have this time to sort of get perspective on the work that we're doing in the Czech Republic and to be ready to go back with a new excitement and a new passion for what is happening there.
Yeah, I'd say similar things. For our work back home, we have these a young couple that is leading our work while we're gone, our church plant, and they're really great. And they're in their early 20s, but they're going to do a great job, I think. But I would like to see better soil. We've seen 2 salvations in 8 years, and that is not what a missionary goes overseas for, So we would love to see God-prepared people, better soil, specifically in North Prague, but really the whole city is experiencing about the same thing. The evangelical ministries that I know, whether Czech-led or American-led or whatever, are all seeing about the same success rate, just no one responding to the gospel in comparison to what your expectations might be. So at a rate of a conversion or a salvation every 4 years, it's not typically what you move your life overseas for. So that's not our problem. That's God choosing to work or not work or whatever. We're not discouraged by that per se, but if we had one request, is that God would loosen the soil so that the seeds could plant. That would be number one request.
Yes, for sure.
Thank you so much for sharing your prayer requests. We'll be praying for you while you're on furlough.
Thanks.
And thank you for coming on Visitor Parking.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.